In Warframe, there are a lot of abilities that goes under the radar of many. Niche abilities like Sickening Pulse can show great potential if you understand the power they hold or setups that allows them to utilize their power. Or abilities like Elemental Ward with its Toxin variant active. While it may seem weak on paper, but when under certain setups like bows, any heavy reload weapons or MultiCO weapons, what it can provide can suddenly become worthwhile. United by their underappreciation, they may rarely see appreciation by many, but they are still beloved by those who understood their potential, just like the ability I am talking about today. I cannot stress enough just how underappreciated Rhino Charge really was, despite how much I advocate for it. People always assume that Rhino Charge is carried by its augment Ironclad Charge, but in reality, it is the exact opposite. Ironclad Charge is pretty much irrelevant in 95% of the case. But Rhino Charge, despite being a 13-year-old ability that has yet to receive any changes since Second Dream, possess a ton of potential that always go underappreciated, despite my best effort on showing its value. Let me explain. Rhino Charge is incredibly simple on paper. Almost everything here scales with the stat you assume it would, except the dash speed of 48 meters per second, which is fixed. Rhino Charge also has a combo system, and for the sake of the video's length, I'ma keep this straightforward and easy to understand. If you cast Rhino Charge again before the meter goes down, the multiplier goes up and you gain different buffs to set ability. The meter itself is quite unclear, so here are the details. You gain 2 times damage, 1.25 times charge range, and 0.5 times total energy cost when you cast the ability again within the base 1 second period. When you cast Rhino Charge again within this period, you now gain 4 times damage, 1.5 times charge range, and 0.25 times total energy cost, which is the maximum benefit you can reach. As long as you can maintain the combo, you will get to keep the buffs until the meter expires. Rhino Charge is deceptively simple and unimpressive. And without the game telling you what makes it incredible, it is obvious that why rarely anyone understands the reason behind why I keep advocating for this ability. It is easy to dismiss the cap speed of 48 meters per second when this is some of the fastest, if not the fastest speed per second for any dash type based movement ability. An incredible fixed base speed means that Rhino basically offload the need of investing in anything to make use of it. But you may say, why does this matter then? Yes, it does matter, simply because of how I actually utilize Rhino Charge. I do not use Rhino Charge normally like you assume I would. See, this is how you would assume how it works. But this is actually how I use. See the difference? Feet off the ground, and it seems like I am sort of bullet jumping. And this is Rhino Charge bullet jump cancel or Maxian, but not really. This is due to a common misconception that Rhino Charge does not carry any momentum. Well, it seems like it doesn't. It does carry a certain momentum that almost all speed abilities don't carry over. Distance of bullet jump and preserve its momentum. And because of this, Rhino Charge also scales indirectly with parkour velocity increase, which means that weapon choices like Praedos is actually one of the best weapons to be paired with Rhino due to one of its incarnate perks provide you a plus 30% parkour velocity. But being fast isn't enough. This type of abilities generally cost a lot to use consistently and demands a lot of attention if you want to get the most out of it. Rhino Charge, however, is some of the cheapest ability known in this game. At max combo count with a 45% efficiency setup, Rhino Charge still costs only 9.6875 energy, which is incredibly low for an ability like this. Not to mention that 2 out of 3 stat that Rhino Charge demands, Rhino already demands it in other part of his kit, which makes it also one of the most investment friendly speed abilities in this game. This is the reason why that Rhino Charge is easily the most underappreciated movement ability in this game. Not only it is quick, it is also incredibly cheap and investment friendly. You can just build Rhino normally and you will get the best out of Rhino Charge without sacrificing much, so that either Iron Skin, Raw and Rhino Stomp can work by their own. For an ability that is 13 years old, this is nothing but impressive. But would you believe me that I say there's much more to it? Remember that people always assume that Rhino Charge deals no damage? How about I prove this fact wrong? In this particular video of mine, I have detailed the way you could allow Rhino Charge to deal insane amounts of damage. If you are interested, feel free to check it out after this video. Since Jade Shadows, Rhino Charge is already a very viable DPS tool due to Blast Procs being an actual DOT status. It's just that nobody really talks about it, nor anyone making an actual video for it. But how? If you check the ability page of Rhino, hover your mouse to the info icon, press tab twice and bam! Rhino Charge applies a blast proc when Iron Skin is active. If you wish, you are able to brute force Rhino Charge to deal incredible amounts of damage through making use of Raw and Sickening Pulse, forcing the blast proc to immediately detonate and deal incredible amounts of damage that you assume this ability won't be able to reach. Especially with weapons like Cyotid and Ruvox. These two can help push this setup further through grouping enemies up or through incumbent perks like Vulnerability Serum to help cascade its damage. And with that, it concludes my reasoning on why I sincerely think that Rhino Charge is easily the most underappreciated ability in this game. Rhino Charge isn't the best ability known by this game, but its potential is nothing to scoff at. It still doesn't change the fact that you pretty much replace this ability 95% of the time when subsumes are involved. Not because Rhino Charge is any weak, but merely process of elimination. Rhino Charge may be phenomenal, but still nowhere near the realms of Iron Skin, Raw and Rhino Stomp, though a bit of retouch won't hurt. Although everything seems sunshines and rainbows, I can't help but to always yearn for a slight retouch for this ability, simply because of how old it really was. And even though it is phenomenal on its own, it still deserves a small bit of love. The idea is really simple. Can I have an option where I could dash infinitely towards a direction if I hold the button until I let go of the button, plus changing the ragdoll effect to knockdown instead? That's the only two things that I am asking for, but considering that retouch comes so slow and so far in between, and the fact that Rhino has not received any direct changes for the past 11.5 years, the current longest known streak of no changes, it is hard to really expect this to be heard or considered, though one could still be hopeful about it. And yeah, that's all for today. If you have any thoughts, feel free to let me know. See you all next time. Goodbye.